Let's get to the bottom of the real reason why you aren't making art. Hi, friends. It's Amy Blair here from Creative Compass. We have all been there, right? We've all had those moments in our creative life where there is just nothing going on. There's a blank canvas sitting on our easel, there are empty pages in our art journal, and we just have nothing flowing through us. We are not making any art. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of the most common reasons that I see in my community and my clients of why this happens. So, most of the time, when a creative tells me that they're just not making art at all, there is usually one of two things going on. Either they are in resistance or they're in a season of rest. So let's talk about what those two things are and how you can tell what is going on for you in your creative life. So let's talk about resistance. So resistance is when you want to be making art, you might even have an idea in your head for exactly what you want to make, and yet you're not. You're not taking any action towards it. That is usually a state of resistance. And at the root cause of resistance is fear. Fear of one kind or another, fear of messing up, fear of making a mistake, fear of failure, fear that maybe you don't have the talent to create this art piece that's in your head, or maybe other people won't get it or won't understand what you're doing. Sometimes we can't even name the fear, but at the base of resistance is one kind of fear or another. Our human brains, they like to keep us safe. And when we are approaching something that is bigger and bolder and new and more daring than maybe we have done before in our creative life, inevitably some resistance is going to come up. That's just how we work as humans. And actually, I always tell my clients when the resistance come up, that's like a compass arrow probably pointing you right in the direction you're meant to be going. Because if it wasn't important, you wouldn't be resisting it. If it was no big deal, there would be no resistance. So as funny as this sounds, resistance is often a good sign. It is a sign that you are on the right path. But that you might need a little more a little more energy to get through it, to get through that resistance and continue on that creative path. We all feel resistance or one time and another. It is part of being a creative, it is part of the journey. Um, and like I said, it's a normal part of being human. So that's resistance over here. And then on the other side, we have rest, right? So creativity works in cycles, very much like the cycles of nature. So if we look to nature as our model, right, there are seasons of growth and there are seasons of rest. So right now where I live, it is winter. Winter is a season of rest. There are not flowers blooming or leaves on the trees or new buds forming from the ground. It is a time of stillness, of emptiness, of rest. It's part of the cycle. So if you just completed a big creative project or a lot of little creative projects, or for whatever reason you're just sort of creatively exhausted, you might be ready for a season of rest. It is necessary. That's what the rest is, what refuels you and fills you up and gets you ready for your next creative project. And again, it is part of the cycle. Doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It's part of every creative's life. We all need seasons of rest. So here's the tricky part. The tricky part is telling which one of these things is affecting you right now. And it's tricky because they can sort of masquerade as each other. This is what I mean by that. Our culture, our modern Western culture, doesn't really celebrate rest. Have you noticed that? Yeah, we celebrate productivity, we celebrate action, we don't really celebrate rest. And so when we land in a season of rest, we're not always comfortable there. Sometimes we have a voice in our head saying, like, what's wrong? We got to keep going. We should be making more, right? We should be making art. We can do it. And so we don't want to acknowledge that we need rest. or we aren't comfortable acknowledging we need rest. And so that voice in our head tries to convince us that it's just resistance, right? We can fight through it. We can keep working through it. And likewise, if we're in resistance, that voice in our head can chime in and try to talk us into the idea that maybe we just need a rest, right? Because that's how resistant works, that little voice in your head that tries to talk you out of what you want to create. So it can be tricky to discern whether you are in a resistance or you are simply in a season of rest. And at the end of the day, it really just takes practice. It takes some time and practice to figure that out, but I'm going to give you a couple tips today to help you tune into that. So my first tip is going to be um, get quiet. Get quiet so you can listen inward. So if you're wondering, am I in resistance? Or do I need rest? This is not a question to outsource to social media or your best friend or your partner. This is a question that needs to be listened inward. So get quiet, take a breath, give yourself some space, and see if you can tune into that. What feels true? Am I in resistance or do I just need some rest? Which one feels true? Which leads me right to my second tip, which is tune in to your body. That is where you will find the answer, not up here. What does it feel like in your body? And your answer will be different than mine. For me, if I'm in resistance, it sort of feels like tightness, like I'm contracting, like there's some kind of tightness there. That's my cue that I'm in some resistance. Whereas if it's a rest issue, I might feel exhausted or, tired, those types of feelings. So tune in to your body. That's where that wisdom lies. And then my third tip is name it. Name it out loud, just to yourself or to anyone, anyone else who wants to listen. If you're feeling, name what you're feeling. I'm in resistance, or I need a rest, right? And we're not going to get it right 100% of the time, but there is a lot of power in naming it out loud. There's a lot of power in, if you know you're in resistance, you're very clear. We have those moments sometimes where it's really clear. Pay attention to all the signals. What do I feel like right now? What does resistance feel like? And then you name it. And then the next time that you're having a lull in your creative life, you recognize it. Okay. So those are some suggestions. And the last thought I want to leave you with is both resistance and rest are part of being creative. They are not good or bad. They are not right or wrong. If you've hit this period where you are not creating because of one of these two reasons, you have not done something wrong. This is part of the journey. They are both part of the life of a creative. You will hit resistance from time to time. You will have to take a season of rest from time to time, right? That is how it goes. So we can let go of judgment of judging why we're in, resistance or why we need rest and just accept that that is part of the journey. That is what's true and it will pass. Right. If you're in resistance, you might need to work a little actively to move through it. While as if you are in rest, it's just a matter of allowing yourself to get the rest you need so that you can return rejuvenated to your creative life. All right, friends, I hope that this is helpful. I hope this information will help you in your creative life. If you are going through a period where you are not creating, I hope this will help you tune in and figure out what is going on so that you can move through it and then move back to your creative life. All right, everybody, if you enjoyed this content, please do like this channel. You can subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified when my new videos come out. And I will see you again soon. Bye for now.